Hello and welcome, I'm your Code Monkey, and in this video we're continuing to check out the inner workings of the task system in Battle Royale Tycoon. We're going to set up a complex task. Let's begin. So, this is the scene so far. We have multiple workers. They are requesting the task system for a task. If they get one, they execute it before waiting for another task. Now in the last video we added two different tasks. If I click with the right mouse button, I can spawn a victory task, and whoever grabs that will do an animation. So click, and that one grabbed, does the animation, and is back to requesting. Okay, great. And if I click the left mouse button, I can spawn a move to position task, and the worker will move to that position. So I click here, and yep, that one grabbed the task, he went there, and now he's waiting for another task. Okay. All right. So now just moving a worker to a target position isn't very interesting, so let's make a complex task by having them clean up some shells. The game is still in development, so if you like the concept, go to the Steam page, add it to your wishlist, and follow. So let's begin by creating a sprite to display our shells. In the game handler in here, let's make a function down here. So make a private void and let's call it spawn for shells. We're going to receive a vector3 for our position, and this function will spawn a sprite on this target position. So let's first create a game object, and let's set the game object.getComponent sprite renderer, set the sprite to be a shell sprite, which we're going to set up here. So let's make a serialized field for a private sprite and call it for shells sprite. All right, and this sprite is what we're going to set down here. Okay, so up here, let's spawn some floor shells on a new vector3 and put it in there. All right, as you can see, the sprite is correctly being spawned. Now let's spawn it on mouse click. So down here, instead of spawning it on start, we're going to spawn it in here on left mouse button, and we're going to use the mouse world position, and that's where we're going to spawn. And let's comment out this task. So on left mouse click, we should now be able to spawn. All right, there they are, and on left mouse click, I can now spawn the sprite. Okay, great. So this is the sprite that we're going to spawn, and now we want the worker to grab a task, to go there, play an animation, and get rid of that sprite. So first of all, let's comment out the second worker just to keep things nice and simple. And now we need to make the cleanup task. So let's go into the task system, and up here we got the various task types. So let's add another one, make a public class, and we're going to call it shell floor cleanup. And it will be of type task. So inside this class, we need to add the fields that the worker will need to execute that task. Now, there are many ways we can do this with differing levels of abstraction. An easy way to do it would be just store the transform, so a public transform shell sprite transform. So let's begin with this since it's the simplest way, and then we'll explore other better ways of doing it. So let's go into the worker class, and so let's make a function to execute our task. So private void execute task shell floor cleanup, and in here we're going to receive the task system.task.shell floor cleanup shell for cleanup task. Okay, so the way we want this task to be executed is first I want to move the worker, so worker.move to, I'm going to move him towards the shell floor cleanup dot transform dot position. That's where he first goes, and when he gets there, he's going to execute this action. Now, when he gets to the sprite transform position, I want to go into the worker.play the cleanup animation. When the animation is completed, it fires this action. So when the animation is actually completed, the easiest way is to simply destroy the transform. So let's do object.destroy of the shell floor cleanup task.shell sprite transform.game object. So as soon as the animation is completed, the game object will be destroyed. And after we do that, let's go back to idle, waiting for the next task. Okay, so this is correct. And now up here, when requesting the next task, we need to switch on that task type. So up here If it is a shell for cleanup, then we execute using this function in here. All right, great. So the worker should be fully working. Now let's go into the game handler. And down here, after we spawn the sprite, first of all, we need to return the sprite in here. So let's return a game object, and we're going to return the sprite game object. This is just because we need the game object up here. So let's make a game object for shells game object. And now using this game object, let's spawn a task. So the task that we're going to spawn will be of type shell for cleanup. And now for the values in here, we have the shell sprite transform. So we're going to give it the for shells game object dot transform. And now let's put the move to on the right instead of the victory. All right, so everything should now be set up. So when we click on the left mouse button, we spawn the sprite for the floor shells. We grab that game object, we create a task to clean it up. And in that task, the information that it needs is the transform, which we give it. We add it to the task, then the worker will eventually grab the task. He will execute it using this function. And in this function, he first moves to the transform position. When he gets there, he plays a cleanup animation. When the animation is completed, he destroys the game object and goes back to idle. So let's see if all of that behavior is working correctly. Okay, so there's the worker waiting for a new task. Now on the right mouse button, I can still spawn the basic move to position task. So I right click in here and yep, he goes there. Great. And now on the left mouse button, when I click, I should spawn a sprite. He should grab that task, move there, play an animation, and the sprite should be destroyed. So let's try, click. Yep, there it is. The task was added. He goes there, plays the animation, and poof, the sprite is vanished. Okay, great. Exactly the behavior that we want to create. All right, so now we have both task behaviors working perfectly. Now let's see another way we could execute this task. So here we are storing the transform, which as you can see works perfectly fine. However, this task is now completely limited to only working with transforms. It won't work if the shells are created in any other form or if they need to be destroyed in a different way other than object.destroy. For example, in Battle Royale Tycoon, the shells are spawned using a particle system and not individual transforms, so this approach wouldn't work there. By using transform in the field, we are making this task type very tightly coupled with the transform type. The worker needs to know what a transform is and how to dispose of it. So let's see how we can implement this in a way that we could use regardless of how you actually implement the visual representation. So the first question you need to ask is, what does the worker need to execute this task? The answer is, first of all, he needs a position. So let's make a public vector 3 for the target position. When he goes there, we want him to play an animation, so that is up to the worker. But when he finishes the animation, we need an action to clean up those shells. So let's make a public action, which is part of the system namespace. We need to store an action, let's say cleanup action. An action is simply a function, so in here when we create the task, that's when we are going to define how the cleanup will actually be executed. So by implementing the task this way, we are clearly separating the responsibilities between who makes the task and who executes it. By implementing the task in this way, we can easily adapt the task to a multitude of systems and the code for the worker never actually changes. So now let's go into the worker, and in here, as you can see, we got errors since we're no longer using transforms. So instead of using the transform.position, the position we're going to move to is the target position. And in here, instead of using a game object.destroy, what we want to do is go into the shell floor cleanup task and execute the cleanup action. So this worker doesn't actually care about how the sprite is implemented or if it's even a sprite. All he needs is a target position to move to, he plays his own animation, and when he's done, he executes a cleanup action. So again, the responsibilities are cleanly separated. He doesn't care how they are implemented, he just executes that task. So in the game handler, when we create the task, instead of giving it a transform, we're going to give it different values. So the first thing is the target position, which in this case, we're going to keep the same implementation for now and do the game object.transform.position. So that is the target position. And for the cleanup action, let's actually do the same thing as previously, just to make sure everything works. So do an object.destroy of the shells game object. Yep, exactly. So the way we set up our code means that the class responsible for creating the task is the one responsible for filling out this information, which will set the target position and the action to destroy it. So let's test, and this should be working exactly the same as before. The worker should go to this position, he will execute the cleanup action, which does the same as previously, which is simply a destroy. So let's see. Alright, there's the worker, and if I click, yep, the sprite spawns, the task spawns, he goes there, plays the animation, and the sprite is destroyed. Okay, great. So we've changed the internal implementation, but everything is still working exactly as we wanted to. So now back in here on the game handler, let's modify the cleanup action to not use destroy. So in here, we're going to give it a function, and we want to reduce the alpha. So for now, just for fun, just for simple, let's do a function updater, which again, the function updater is part of the CodeMonkey utilities, which you can grab for free from unitycodemonkey.com. Now a function updater simply executes an action every update. So it's exactly what we need to be able to do a simple alpha fade. So let me grab up here a reference to the sprite renderer. Down here, let's store the alpha, and we're going to reduce alpha minus equals time.alpha, and we're going to set the alpha. Alright, so we got just a very simple code in here so we can test and see that the cleanup action is now different from previously. So I am simply grabbing a reference to the sprite renderer, then I'm creating a function updater which will execute this action every frame until it returns true. So every frame he's going to reduce this alpha by time.alpha, so it won't be fully reduced to 0 in 1 second. And I simply set the sprite renderer color to a new color using that alpha. When it is below 0, it returns true and this object destroys itself. Alright, so essentially we have now successfully created a different cleanup action, and again, the worker task AI doesn't care how that action is implemented. He simply executes it and whatever's in there gets executed. So let's test and see if we have a different implementation of our cleanup code. Alright, there he is. I click in here and there's the sprite. He goes, plays the animation, and yep, you can see the alpha vanish. Great. So as you can see, he cleaned up the sprite using the cleanup behavior defined in the task itself. Now the worker no longer knows or needs to know how the cleanup behavior is set up. He simply executes the action in that task. So we could easily spawn the shells using a particle system and the worker behavior would not change at all. Now just to make sure, let's add the other worker just to make sure everything still works exactly the same with multiple workers. There they are, and I can spawn multiple and they will all sequentially go through it, execute the animation, clean it up, and they will vanish according to their cleanup action. Yep, great, awesome. So there you have it. We had the ability to execute a complex task and went over the best practices to keep our code clean. In the next video, we're going to cover how to queue up tasks. Again, the game is still in development, so if you like the concept, go to the Steam page, add it to your wishlist, and follow. As always, you can download the project files and utilities from unitycodemonkey.com. If you have any questions, post them in the comments and I'll do my best to answer them. Subscribe for more videos and I'll see you next time.